Mental Health, the Up&Up. We're trying to make mental health care clear, helpful, and maybe even fun. We're chatting with licensed therapists, but this is not therapy. These are simply thoughts and ideas for you to discuss with your own therapist and to help you on your journey of complete wellness. So we are back to talk more about why we hold grudges. Last time, I shared a couple specific situations of things that my brain just will not let go of. And I don't know that necessarily I feel like I'm holding a grudge, but it's definitely stuck up there and I'm not okay with it. Like, whatever happened, my brain's still not okay about it, so it's not going away.
Yeah, right. And because of that, we didn't get a chance to talk about all the general stuff about grudges because we talked about we kind of went down
we hyper-focused a little bit.
We hyper-focused, and I could even see myself with my eyes going like, ah. But the first thing is like, I don't like the word grudge because it definitely has a negative connotation. Like nobody says, "Oh, hey, great job, you're holding a grudge."
Right.
You know, and Anna and I were talking. We really couldn't come up with another word that means holding on to a memory or a feeling or a piece of information longer than other people think you should.
Yeah. Why you can't just let this go.
Right. And I think I just figured out why I don't like that word is that it is based on other people's expectations rather than your own need or even want. You know, if I want to remember something that happened in fourth grade, I get to remember that.
That's true. This ties into a later podcast about grief, where there's a lot of social expectation that you're going to just move through grief and be okay within a set parameter of cycles. I won't even say it's time, it's a certain amount of cycles through the stages of grief. And that's not always accurate for everybody.
Yeah, and I've seen it both ways. I've seen people say to other people, "You're taking too long to move past this." But I've also seen it the other way where people like get married after a spouse dies and they're like, "How can you do that? You should be grieving."
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I think grief, back pain, everybody has an opinion. Sleep on something hard, sleep on something soft, put your legs up, keep your legs flat. It's like, you don't know how my back hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something else I think people always have an opinion on. Oh, children.
Children.
Hold them all the time.
Sure.
Let them cry. It's like,
never let them cry a minute in their life.
Yes.
All sides of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, grudges falls into that same category where everybody feels like, well, you should just let that go. Well, why are you fixating on that? Well, why aren't you holding on to that? They should never blah, blah, blah.
Hopefully I won't go too far down another sidetrack, but I have the same issue with the word manipulative. Like you're being manipulative. You're being manipulative.
Say it 10 times fast.
Right? Because I think of that as a positive thing, whereas most other people think of it as negative.
I see.
My job is to manipulate things so that people feel comfortable talking. And again, I can't find a real positive word that means that. Like I'm creating an environment in which I get this thing. And definitely a car salesman, I'm not putting down car salesman, but it's a real quick example. Like they manipulate things to make you want to buy a car. If you don't like the car, then you're mad at them, but absolutely teachers manipulate their students to learn. I manipulate people to talk about unpleasant things sometimes. You manipulate me sometimes to not go off on tangents.
I manipulate you with my pensive face that doesn't tell you what I'm thinking.
Right, thinking, and they're like, "Uh-oh, here I go again." So I kind of want to pick a word other than grudge and maybe by the end of the podcast, we'll have a better word. Or if
Yeah,
you have a better word, contact us. Let us know a positive word
definitely.
for grudge. But I want to pick another word to use during this podcast.
Okay.
And all I can think about is like spelling it backwards, which grudge, ed, gurge.
Egderg?
Yeah. Okay. Can you think of anything?
I something nondescript. You could say a fixation point. That's not
Um,
necessarily negative.
yeah. How about, I don't like fixation, but how about just fixed point or fixed memory?
Mm, that's not bad.
Okay, we're going to go with fixed memory.
Okay.
Otherwise, Anna, you and I will talk about this for 3 hours
We'll
and
never get
we,
anywhere.
we won't. Right. So fixed memory.
Right.
So, and again, what we just spent time talking about is that's not necessarily a negative or unhelpful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can become that, sure. And, sometimes we, just like the pain from, bad back, we just want to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to process it. We don't need to question it. We don't need to, it's just like, it's just irritating and bad and painful.
Yeah.
Let's just get rid of it. But before you automatically get rid of it or immediately get rid of it, there are definitely some things to consider about why you keep returning to that fixed memory. So, touching on last week, Anna, if you could just kind of summarize the reasons or the values or the needs that you think that make that fixed memory keep returning, make that into a sentence. What?
So, when we talked it through last time, we did narrow it down to the reasons, sometimes the reasons why our brains hold on to these things, these memories, these fixed memories,
Yes.
um, and will not let them go, even when we think we've processed it through, or even when we're trying to be forgiving, or when we're trying to move on with life, and our
Mm-hmm.
brain keeps returning there. Sometimes it's because of whatever happened in that moment pushed a value, a core
Mm-hmm.
value that we have, um, or challenged a core value. Maybe that's a better word.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe it was something that triggered you emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
or was impactful emotionally. So when you enter new situations that are similar, then you get triggered emotionally, or what was it? Functionally is
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
word. So it's not even about the emotions of the situation, but wait, I've lived through this before. Last time A, B, and C happened,
Mm-hmm.
D was the result. I don't know that I want D to be the result, but this happened before, and so your brain pulls it back forward, and it's a fixed memory. It's
Mm-hmm.
stuck. So those were some of the things that I know we explored last time.
Yeah. So you were talking about like not wanting the same thing to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And if we forget that fixed memory, and I'm thinking of old boyfriends. I made you laugh when you're taking a drink of water. Sorry.
No spit
Uh,
takes yet. We're good.
and actually, I don't have any super memories of old boyfriends, but that's a good example. If
No,
you're,
but that ties into a very awkward and very normal thing that happens to all of us is when you're hanging out with your significant other and something they do triggers a memory of
mm-hmm,
a previous person, and that can either
mm-hmm,
be positive or negative or
mm-hmm.
just plain awkward.
Yeah,
Because you're not trying to compare your peoples, it's just, sometimes
it
people
just
do the same
happens.
things.
Or with kids,
Yeah.
whether you admire the father of your children or not, or the mother of your children.
Mm-hmm.
If you see your child doing something that reminds you of that person, it can
Yeah,
trigger what the relationship with that other person.
absolutely.
Uh, my daughter learned a Pittsburgh accent, even though she never lived in Pittsburgh because I had a stronger Pittsburgh accent, so she would say some words, and it was funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, still, those things are triggering that fixed memory for a reason. And that could be like if your current partner reminds you of something in your bad partner, it could be that you say, oh my goodness, yes, I really appreciate this about my partner and want to remember to appreciate that every single time it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Or it triggers, if it triggers an unpleasant fixed memory, then you can use that to say, wow, I need to watch out for that in this partner. If it becomes a repetitive, occurrence, I need
Mm-hmm.
to maybe let them know how much it bothers me. Or if I see that behavior, I want to remind myself that I don't want to do that behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I see other people doing that behavior, it indicates that maybe they have these values or are going to more likely have those future behaviors. So,
or when I see that behavior in that person, I don't want to respond in the same way, so I want to try something new.
oh, I like it. I like it. So, yeah, actually, almost with everything, fixed memories, you still get to make a decision when that
Yeah.
occurs. You get to make the decision about how you respond to that memory. And sometimes that decision is, I need to put that in the part of my brain that where I put other things I just don't need or want to think about. I just need to let it go. Or it may be, I actually want to increase this. I actually
Yeah.
want to think of other examples. Oh, hold on. This boyfriend did this. This other one also. Oh my goodness, this other one also did it. How did I forget that?
Mm-hmm.
So you might actually want to strengthen that fixed memory or keep it the same.
Yeah.
But it's kind of about why am I keeping this fixed memory alive?
Mm-hmm.
And it usually it could have to do with a important value that I don't want to forget this value. So every time I see, I was going to say like a shift in the universe where that value isn't being applied, I just kind of either want to do what I'm doing differently,
Mm-hmm.
alert the other person, or get away from that person, or
Yeah.
any other number of
Uh,
decisions.
a defined example of that, going back to the stories I shared before, was when I got married and my extended family wanted to come to my stepkids' events, and we had
Mm-hmm.
told them, oh, yeah, you're invited, but then we never followed up and made sure they had transport to said events. And so they
Right.
ended up left out, and everything didn't go, and everybody's feelings were hurt, and it was just bad. My feelings were hurt on behalf of everybody around me because I'm like, no, you're all supposed to be able to love on each other, and it
Mm-hmm.
didn't happen. And my brain is stuck on that. It holds on to that because family and community is a very high value of mine, and so that just reminds me that I need to make sure I take the time to make sure everybody gets included. So
Yeah, and I think you hit two of those. You have that fixed memory because it's a very, very important value to you. And
mm-hmm.
you didn't surprise me when you said that. I know that about you. Family is super important. And also I don't want this D to occur from ABC.
Exactly.
I just never want that D to happen. So I kind of keep it alive, or keep it so I can pull it back from my subconscious super quick if I ever try to expect people to show up places in a snowstorm when they have no transportation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So you are reminded of that fixed memory. Of course, sometimes they're just irritating, and other times they're helpful,
Yeah.
either to remind you of something or to prevent a behavior or to help someone else learn or help you learn. And sometimes you want to kind of quiet them, and sometimes you want to get them to speak louder.
Yeah.
I'm often, yeah, I'll say often accused of holding a grudge, which I understand why people think that. It's because I forgive so easily that when something I don't like the word forgive too. People mean all sorts of things with that.
Mm-hmm.
But when something is super important to me, I actually have to try really hard to keep that fixed memory in my head
Mm-hmm.
because of its importance.
Yeah.
And since I really try really hard to keep bringing that up, I can see people thinking, oh, you keep bringing that up. And it's like, because I keep forgetting it,
Yeah.
it's like, takes a
But
lot for me to.
the assumption on the other side is that you're bringing it up to make them feel bad, holding
Yeah,
a grudge. But you're bringing it up because you know this was important and you need to be able to address it every time it comes up and
yeah,
and every time a similar situation comes up. Is that
exactly.
accurate?
A little bit. I'd have to think about the first thing you said, that people think I'm bringing it up to hurt them or irritate them. Uh, in my personal experience, um, I bring it up and they think that is what is getting in the way of my future movement or health,
Mm-hmm.
emotional health. If you just forgot that, you'd be happier, healthier. And they're like, yeah, maybe, but I'd be in a lot of danger,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I'd be happier, healthier,
Yeah.
you know, forgetting that, I don't know, can't think of another stupid example except for
Forgetting that
boyfriends.
one time when you didn't put the car in park and it almost rolled down the hill.
Yes, that's a good one too. I want to remember that, just like the memory I have of actually getting into the wrong car.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
story for another time. Embarrassing story. But yeah, that's an excellent example. I don't bring that up over and over again, whether I bring it up in my brain or say it out loud. I don't do that to hold on to something unhelpful or to keep myself angry
Mm-hmm.
or sad or be afraid of driving. I bring that up because I just don't want my car to roll away.
Yeah. So I'm going to flip this a little
Mm-hmm,
bit. So we're talking about what we're doing internally with dealing with our fixed memories.
mm-hmm,
But as a friend, if I
mm-hmm,
have a friend who feels to me that they're really stuck on this one memory, they keep bringing it up, they talk about it incessantly,
mm-hmm.
and it's frustrating for me just because it gets repetitive, and that's my own problem. That's not theirs.
Yeah.
But if that is what's happening, how do I help them in that moment? So, as a
The,
friend, how do I help
yeah.
my friend who's stuck on a fixed memory?
So the first thing I would ask you is, why do they need help when they're stuck on a fixed memory?
Hmm,
Why is it the assumption that something is wrong?
touche.
I know, right? So truly, usually that does mean there's something wrong, but
Usually it's because
mm,
I detect some sort of distress in the memory
yeah,
as they're reiterating it over and over.
yeah. And I agree with you. That is true 99% of the time. The only time I think uh, it doesn't apply is either after a woman has a baby, she's there
Mm,
like, and then this contraction hurt so bad, and then I threw up, and then I da 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 da. And sometimes we just fixate on that memory because
yeah.
it was a pleasant one, or we need to process that change,
That's a
you know,
lot going on in a short span of time, to be fair.
right?
That specific
So
example.
yeah. And for a lot of women, you say, okay, hey, do you remember your third son's birth and labor? And yes, because we were late getting to the hospital and they didn't believe me, but then I had a contraction.
Yep.
And I don't know that that serves a huge purpose other than it just stays fixed because it's important.
Well, it was important. It was an impactful moment for that
Oh,
person.
yeah. And so that does solidify the value
Yeah.
of, even though this is painful, I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Um, so even though I jokingly said, how do you know they need something fixed? I think the first thing is to assume that it's not a problem. It is simply I don't even want to say symptom, an indication or a thing you noticed,
Hmm.
So if we were talking about sorry, Anna, we were talking about your face before.
We were. My face.
And I said, do you not like that idea? And she said, no, I'm concentrating. And my concentration face looks really similar to my, I don't like that idea face. Uh,
Yep.
yeah. So, if we pick up that someone's holding on to a memory, we can say, a lot of times this indicates this. Tell me a little more about that memory and what it means to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think the first thing is to not assume it's a negative thing, and to maybe even assume it's a helpful thing, because at some level it is a helpful thing. Even if there are things that they could do that get the same result that are way more helpful, right now that's the closest they can get to helpful.
I think another part of why I am one of those nurturing kinds who wants to fix everything for everybody, and I do try to hold that in check. But I do think another half of the thing is when someone is bringing that up to me over and over and over, it's obviously because they feel like I'm a safe space, which is a good thing. That's a positive. I'm safe enough to have that conversation. But if they're bringing it up over and over and over, for me, being my values, it hits on a feeling of being stagnated for me. I don't like to feel like I've stagnated in my life, in my emotional or spiritual, educational, intellectual, any of those. I like to feel like I'm always making progress and to be a better me, to improve my circumstances, etc. And so I get frustrated with myself when I hyperfixate on a specific memory. And when other people are doing it, it concerns me because I'm worried that they're getting stuck.
Yeah, and I do think it may not indicate a problem. It may simply be a reminder. I also think there are a lot more fun ways to remind yourself of things.
Maybe.
Or healthy or helpful. And yeah, if they're like, no, this is my reminder to.
Yeah.
I have such bad examples. To never kick a dog again. I gotta remember that. Then they actually do want it to keep coming up and have it be a little unpleasant. Go ahead.
I just thought of another avenue of this is I've had repetitive conversations with people and they keep bringing up the same points, and it's because this is just basic communication, but this is someone who just needed to know that they've been heard and understood. And so they keep bringing it up because obviously I'm not giving them the kind of interface they need, and they need me to understand something.
Or you are giving them that, and so they come back to you
and
every
so they
time
repeat
they need it.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll probably do another podcast about this, how important it is to simply feel heard. It is much more important than many people think it is.
And it's not, it is very important because in my life, I've met both people who needed that, who have gone through abuse, who they've been through something traumatic. Yeah. And they need someone to simply hear them when they say, someone treated me badly and it wasn't okay, and have someone hear them and say, you're right, it wasn't. And that's all they need. But I also have people who used to be called, they're opinions based. They're people who have very strong opinions. Not that they need you to have the same opinion, but they need you to know what their opinion is and be understood. And all they need is for you to say, okay, I understand, and to actually try to understand. You can't just blow them off, they'll know.
Yeah.
But so it's a wide range. It's important in the everyday things, not just in the traumatic, is what I was trying to lead toward.
Yeah, it's actually a Dale Carnegie quote, but I use it in my parenting class. Actually, I use it more in the class I do with teenagers about how I call it how to get what you want out of your parent, which then they actually want to come to the class.
Right.
But the saying is, you can't win an argument.
True.
Once you start arguing, you've already lost. So to listen to those things, you don't have to agree with the specific argument, but there's always going to be something you agree with, even if it's, if I were you, I'd think the same, because if I were you, I would think the same. Or, I know we both think about these things a lot, don't we? Yeah. So being heard is a really core need that a lot of people don't see as important as it really is.
Agreed.
So, yeah.
So this getting us back on track here. I'm trying to figure out where I'm looking at my notes. So we talked about why we hold grudges. Sometimes it's because It's not that we're holding. Why are we fixate on memories? Why are
Mm-hmm.
why we have these fixed memories is because it hit a core value,
Mm-hmm.
or its importance affects a future need is our next point, I think, that we didn't quite
Mm-hmm.
get to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is like a caution. I can't remember if it was like if I forgot to put the brakes on my car and parked on a hill,
Right.
you know, I need to remember that so that next time I do that,
Mm-hmm.
I might say, oh man, I do you remember that time my car rolled downhill and,
Mm-hmm.
hit a lamppost? And you're there like, yes, I remember that time. I'm not actually saying, do you happen to remember that time? I'm saying, I really need to remember that time so I don't do it again.
Right.
So, yeah, don't want it to happen again, um, or don't want a similar thing to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yeah, personally, that's happened to me sometimes with medical care,
Mm-hmm.
where, some things happened where I got an infection. And
Yeah.
so when similar things happen, I refer back to that. And some of that is actually functional. I
Mm-hmm.
literally don't want to get an infection, so I have to remind myself how important that is.
Yeah.
And some of that is I need to remember different steps to take so that doesn't happen again.
Right.
So, yeah, so it hits a value, it hits a uh, a core result that you do or don't want. And
Yeah.
actually, I'd say that's the opposite. Like, um, I can't think of a. Well, here's an example. If you come over to my house and you say, "Oh my goodness, you make the best brownies," I know I make the best brownies. And if I say to you, oh, "You say that every time you come over," I know. But it is like oh, I remember she cares about me and she does make good brownies. And you're
Yeah.
not actually giving me any information by telling me I make good brownies.
Yeah.
So,
It's an acknowledgement and an affection.
mhm. Yeah. So hits a value, you don't want a result.
Hmm.
Sometimes, so I put down, it hits a value, excuse me, that it hits a value, it's a reminder to not
Mm-hmm.
have the same thing happen again, or it hits a need, which uh, goes to what you were saying, or actually both of us were saying about it serves a purpose
Mm-hmm.
and maybe not the best way to get the same result, but a way. And because you do like to fix things, I think everybody does, but since that's a core value of yours, if someone does keep repeating a situation or an event, um, to say to them or to be curious about, okay, so how is that serving you? And
Mm-hmm.
then can we find a easier way for that to get that result and not have it be an unpleasant way to remind yourself of that value,
Mm-hmm.
and or to be a more pleasant way to not park on a hill without putting your brakes on,
Yeah.
and there most likely is, so uh, it's a way that works. It's not always the best way. There are a lot of things that might work.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, if I always drive with you in the car and you're the one who says, put your brake on, then I don't have to bring forward that fixed
I've
memory.
had that solution on a couple of things.
um, the other thing, where I do think it serves a purpose, is fixed memories are a way for our brain to process a trauma or an unpleasant event, uh, and kind of, I think of it like pulling it forward and then saying, okay, now I figured out what happened. And then it goes back to your brain, and your brain kind of lessens the impact every time you pull it forward,
Mm.
um, or pull it back.
Processing
And
little by little. That
uh,
sunshine's getting to you.
yeah, here, that's a little better. So, yeah, to process that, and that just sometimes takes time,
Mm-hmm.
which again is another reason why after labor, women tell their stories over and over again. It's just
Yeah.
saying, okay, that really hurt. It's gone. Okay, that really hurt. Okay, that really hurt. And it gets, the level of response gets lower because their brain is saying, but you handled it, or whatever helpful response. And sometimes we just need that time.
Yeah.
I tell this story, and I probably told it before, I'll probably tell it again. But I was driving with someone who'd been in a pretty bad car accident, and I was driving, they were the passenger. And every time I came up to a stop, they would like grab, like I was going to crash.
Yep.
In that situation, there wasn't any danger, but because there was danger in a previous situation, that was her brain kind of processing, okay, this situation is different than that situation. This situation is different. And the thing that is most likely to keep an unhelpful fixed memory fixed is when the other person says, stop doing that, or this is a different situation, or I didn't do that to you. Why are you taking it out on me? She's not taking it out on me. She's not even saying I'm a bad driver. She's actually, part of her brain actually realizes there's no danger here, but that fixed memory does keep pulling forward just to process the trauma. And it did take a while.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of sunk into the background. But I promise you, I could have made it last a lot longer if every time she did that, I said, but I wasn't the one driving when you had the accident.
Just stop holding a grudge.
Yeah, get over it, Those things just carry through, and sometimes our brain just needs time to process them.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of reasons to hold on to a fixed memory. Some are probably, negative too. Like, I want to continue to not like this person. Yeah, I don't know.
Helpful and unhelpful,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I have written down. Just the first thing is it's not a good or a bad, it's a thing. And then to think about, my brain actually wants to protect myself. So how is this protecting me? Does it hit on a value or a need or a future need, or a caution, or am I processing something? And if I am, use the fixed memory to continue doing that, or find a different way to do that. And if I'm there like, no, this just keeps popping up, I'll use my green bean example. Is everybody has an example of one thing that made them throw up as a child. And for me, it was green beans. Nothing to do with the green beans, but it was really gross. And so I keep having this fixed memory that green beans are bad. That's one fixed memory that serves zero purpose.
Right.
I don't have to avoid green beans. I don't have to remember to act differently so I don't get a stomach ache. I know all those things. So that would be more the processing trauma. I don't know if it was a trauma, but processing. And then my brain saying, that's not the case, silly brain, and to send it back to a better spot in my unconscious. So that's my thoughts and Anna's thoughts and some random thoughts about why we continue to remember things and talk about things that other people call grudges. I hope that's helpful to you. I hope that's helpful to you in your own life, and I hope that's helpful in interacting with other people.
If there's anything that we didn't quite touch on for you guys, definitely leave a comment so that we can follow up on it. If you disagree with us, leave a comment and we'll follow up on it, because discussion is good.
I love comments. I love both kinds, oh,
we've been really enjoying the feedback we've been getting so far. So thank you guys for reaching out and just sharing your thoughts. We love it.
Yeah. And honestly, we've gotten a couple that in our minds had to do with some personal experience the other person was having rather than our own podcast. It just triggered it. And those are fine too.
Yeah.
If saying something out loud, being heard about that is helpful, yeah, we're here. we're here, and we're not going to, we can't yell at you. We don't know who you are. But we're here and we're very accepting. So any kind of comments we would love.
For more resources, shop at www.upandupwellness.com and hit that subscribe button. If you are in crisis and struggling right now, the national hotline is 988, and they can help you any time of the day or night.